Veggie Moon, Pisces Vein, Capri Sun. Welcome to the Wandiology podcast, where we learn and demystify astrology as a tool to gain a deeper understanding of our energetic signatures and our interactions with the world. Today, I'm joined by the goat of all goats, my favorite person in the entire world, and I'll let her introduce herself. Say hi to the people.
Hi, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the goat, as Sondia says.
Period.
My name is Neema. I'm Wandia's mom. I don't know if I need to go into details.
Just say whatever your heart feels.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm informed. Born in February. I'm a mother, teacher. I love nature. I love creating, and that's the reason I'm here to support my daughter with her creating, her creative space.
Thank you.
I love to be happy, and so there's joy. We are having a joyful season here.
Yeah.
You will find me there. Yes, that's why my name Neema resonates so much with just giving out or sending out those goodness vibes out there.
Yes. So, yes, that is my lovely mother. Come on. So, my mom is a Pisces sun, as she said, but she's also a Pisces rising, right? And if you didn't know, this is the Pisces archetype. We're just gonna get into it. So, mom, I'll just explain like Pisces themes, and you'll tell me if they resonate with you. So, Pisces, astrologically, is because you said you're a teacher and taught me how to teach. You literally taught me my entire personality is stolen from you. So Pisces astrologically is a mutable water sign, right? So from the water aspect of it, we know water is about emotions. It's about cleansing. It's about flow, right? It's about surrender. It's about sensitivity, intuition. Those are all the things that come with water. Like when you go to around water bodies or the ocean, you feel energetically, clean, right? Yeah. Or when you drink water after umekuwa na kiu, you feel very nice, right? That's the feeling of a water sign. Now, the mutability of Pisces comes from Pisces being the final sign in the entire zodiac. But not only in the entire zodiac, it's the final sign of winter, right? So it closes out the winter season as we're ready to begin spring in Aries, right? So that's why it's a mutable sign, because it's able to bring in the themes of adaptability, even with respect to weather, but not only that, with respect to personality, right? So Piscean people are able to change and mutate and adapt according to the situations, especially according to the way their emotions, take them. So far, is there anything you resonate with?
Yes, indeed. The ability to adapt, that I do, because having, maybe at my age, a lot of the people I find myself interacting with, vibing, so to say, are young people.
Yes.
I really love their company, their energy, but still, even with elder kin like myself, still I'll be at home.
Yes.
It's easy for me to adapt to situations. It doesn't matter really where. If I go to an autocratic place, military, I'll be there.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. I'll adapt to the environment, if it's business, if it's education. I'm able to see things from different perspectives. But also, I don't know if it is the Pisces bit or it's my exposure or education. But at the end of the day, that I resonate with.
Yeah.
The other aspect that I think is that the spirituality bit, that I'm really, it's my forte. I love God.
Yeah.
I've brought you up that way. These are areas or places in your life that I feel you really have to connect
Absolutely.
with a bigger man,
Absolutely.
wherever they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that for me works through hard times, through easy times. It's a place really I feel very comfortable. The bit of water, yes, you're right, completely right. I love water. The strange thing is I can't swim, but like the fish.
Yeah.
But yes, I love cleanliness. That's a space that I really feel very home at.
Absolutely.
Rivers, I want a shamba near a river.
Yes.
That's something. I prefer to be in water than maybe out in the sun. I'm happier there. It's cooler. The calmness, I love meditation, so I'll go to those places. And so, then when you talk about the autumn, or, just out of winter into spring, I like life. Yes, I love color, I love cooking, I love, things that
taking care.
Yes, taking care to nurture. I don't know if, again, it's the Piscean me or it is the firstborn. I don't know that. I expect you now to shed, probably to tell me something about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just recently found out I'm also a Pisces rising, meaning I stole my mom's entire house placements, right? And I find that with Pisces, and we are both Pisces risings and we're both firstborns. Wow. So we share that.
Yes.
And we share a lot. And Tess is my baby sister. And she always tells us how we are so similar. And I feel like that's also part of it, because sometimes, for example, when you find that you share houses with someone, sometimes you can see similar themes happening in your life because the planets are transiting your houses at the same time. Okay. So, for example, right now we're on this podcast and we're both Pisces risings. And for example, the sun is transiting both our first house of self, meaning something will happen where we'll kind of face into the public in a way, which we are doing here, right? And things like that. You find things like that happening. But I feel like, for me, my experience of you as a Pisces is, first of all, that spirituality. You do not play with that spirituality. Like, my mom will go on retreats, just like she'll fast, she'll pray and things like that. Like, she does not pray about she does not play about her spirituality. And that's something I've always admired about you from a young age. Another thing is, you have the way you said that you have perspective, but for me that comes out like, sometimes it's easy to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You can have perspective like that. But I also think you have perspective that people usually do not see, right? A lot of times when you delve into Piscean themes, a lot of things are hidden. In that, even when you start talking about spirituality, then people are like, oh, but we're comfortable around the facts. When you start talking about things that people cannot fact check or see, then it gets a bit tricky, because now there comes belief. and faith,
Yes.
right? And now speaking about all these things like the word belief, and going back now to your value system and how you raised us, it was so wholesome in that there are things that are so ingrained in me, or that you ingrained in us, that are like I can never give up, because I know. And sometimes it's like, for example, that intuition and things like that, and things that are very spiritual and personal. And I think those are the gifts you passed down to us. And me, I'll speak for myself, because I find that those are the things now that help me navigate the world the way I do. So for me, Pisces is it's depth. There's a depth with Pisces energy that a lot of people, it'll be hard to grasp. It's just like, if you know, you know. If you feel, you feel. If you believe, you believe. But then explaining to people outside that world, then itakuwa ngumu. So that's what I've experienced under your leadership.
Thank you.
Yes, I've also experienced a lot of independence. You've taught us to be very like, you have to have your own things. One day you cannot depend on, you can, yes, it's okay to be helped and things like that, but help yourself first, things like that. Yeah, I think another thing is just humility and simplicity, in that you are the someone who just does not, you don't pretend to be things you're not. And I really admire that about you. Like, you're very solid emotionally. I know that my mom is never going to differ from the mom I've always known. Yeah. So that's how I've experienced you. So now we can talk about Pisces as it translates in the planets, India.
Yes, we can.
But before we even talk about that, I want to ask you, what do you think, or like, because earlier you mentioned something like at my age. So I don't know if you mind sharing your age. But I wanted to ask you in terms of, we know how there is this very mystical thing happening about astrology, or around topics to do with anything that's outside the norm. So how do you, for example, open up yourself to learn, for example, from like me, because that's what you've been doing? Like, how can you tell other people your age to open themselves up to things that they're not used to, like astrology, for example?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Of course, a bit of my experience with young people is to let them express themselves. And having raised you, first of all, you said you are independently, like you have to think for yourself. There are skills that I would expect you to exhibit: critical thinking, so that you're able to make decisions. I teach you how to make decisions. It's a science. Or things like value system. So I know once you're grounded in the value system, then you will make your decisions, whatever they may be, on a good foundation. So I'm not afraid that you going out there to look for information, because that's basically what we want you to do. To keep learning, so that you improve yourself. And if it's something that can bring value to me or to another person, in terms of being able to look at myself in a different way and asking questions about myself or the other person, I don't see anything wrong with it. But the other thing I do, and that's why I have encouraged you to like go out there and do what you need to do, is ensure that I first go and research myself so that I see what it is that she is talking about.
Yes.
So I have an inkling. It's not something very new to me. When you talk about it to me, regarding my Pisces, I know coming from a religious background, I'm solid in that. But I do also look at the bigger picture. Yes, because I've seen in my Bible, I'll talk about the Magi, the wise men.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Yeah. So I will not be the theologian, but I'll have gone back to study and see where Wandia is coming from and where she's going. And if I think there's a need for caution in an area, I honestly will tell you, because we have open communication.
Yes.
So there's no secrets. I'll tell you, hey, look here, I don't think this is the way to go. But so far so good, because you've made me relook at myself, my habits, my thoughts, my patterns, and even in the family, and be able to become better people around each other from an astrological perspective. So it's always about perspective. Yeah, but again, I would ask, it's good for aspirants to also be seekers of information.
Absolutely.
I push for that, because right now, as we speak in the world, there's so much info everywhere. The important thing is, when we go look for that information from wherever, is it in our circles, when we teach, we say, is it peer reviewed by experts? So those people that should have done the experiments or the digging through research, and so what they give us is close to the truth.
Absolutely.
As opposed to just probably just going on Google and looking for the same info and getting such diverse opinions, which you cannot bank on.
Yes.
So I would say my background as a teacher has really helped me. My outlook in life has been able to kind of, make me a little flexible. And so it's not that I'll be different from any other parent. I'll be cautious, because I want you to have quality information, especially when it's for public consumption.
Exactly.
But I will not discourage you. I'll not kill your dream.
Yes.
Because that's not what I'm here for.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's very interesting that you said you'll not kill my dream, because Pisces, I told you, and dreams go hand in hand. These are the dreamers of the zodiac, literally. And we'll talk more about that. So I think we've kind of looked at the sun in Pisces in a way. But if you don't know what the sun is about your core, your individuality, right? And so we've said all these words about Pisces, which is sensitive, emotional, dreamy, all these things. And it just means at the core of who you are, these are the things that really deeply resonate with you, right? Individually. And so we'll move through the planets like that, looking at the different planets in Pisces, right? So so moon in Pisces. So mom, you know how I'm always yapping to you all the time about at this point, I think you know what the planets mean, what the houses mean. So I'll just go through the moon in Pisces.
Yeah, I've seen the passion.
Yeah. And it's you. When you don't kill a child's dream, that's what happens. You just explode with creativity and knowledge and things of the sort. And honestly, you can achieve anything. That's how you make me feel. You make me feel yeah. Everything is under my leadership.
Yes.
So moon in Pisces, I have really butt heads with Pisces moons in the past, because I find them very deluded. So people usually say that Pisces placements are very deluded.
Yes.
There's this talk about Pisceans that's very they're delusional, and they don't live in reality.
Yes.
And of course, that's a consequence of always dreaming and feeling.
Yeah, we dream a lot.
Exactly. It's like the artists and the poets of the zodiac. So you can't expect them to just be here living realistically like earth signs, like the opposite sign, which is Virgo. So, for example, I'm a Virgo sun, but I'm a Pisces rising. So you see that opposition.
Yes.
And also us having that opposition with me growing up was always a conflict of opinions.
Yes. Even now,
yeah.
We will not agree on a few issues.
Yes.
And you'll stand your
I'll
ground.
stand my ground and you'll stand your ground.
Yes.
And we'll be like, it's fine. We still love each other and we can move.
Yes.
But for me, what the delusion in Pisces, I've seen it most with Pisces moons. And this is, I feel like, because the moon is about emotions and like your daily habits and like your mother, and the moon is femininity, nurturing, things of the sort, memory, things like that. And with Pisces here, you can imagine a very sentimental feeler, someone who kind of validates the delusions. Yeah.
Okay.
And because emotion is very, very heavy, like emotion is very strong.
Yes.
And so reacting from a place of the castles you've built in the air can be tricky, right?
Yes.
I'll give you an example of a Pisces moon. It's Kanye West. Kanye West is a Pisces moon. And every time I just hear him speak, I'm just like, but is it realistic? Is what, like...
You question.
Yes, you question, because it's like, is this another story in your head? And that's why I feel like just a lot of Pisces moons that I've met in my life, we've just been at loggerheads, because sometimes they'll project a lot of stories that they've built in your head about you, even when they're not realistic. And then they'll want to take that as the truth. Right? So sometimes I have an issue with that, because then it's like, are we really judging the situation correctly? Because now on my side, I'm seeing it from the Virgo side, which is very grounded. Like, we're down here, we're like, what needs to be done in real time? And so I'm thinking, if we're not judging this situation realistically, then what's the point? Right? Like, if there are no rules around this thing, then what's the point? Yeah. But I also find that this sign will have amazing creatives, amazing writers, amazing poets, amazing artists, like people who just want to paint their souls out or write their hearts out. Yeah, and I find like it's a really stunning placement for artists.
Yes. Yeah, we love to express ourselves quite a bit. Like, I'll have a poem coming out of my mouth.
Yes.
Just randomly.
You're also a very, very brilliant writer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you didn't know.
Yes. So, yes,
Yeah.
that's us. That's why, I kept telling you when I was younger, if I hadn't found myself in teaching, I think I would be a fish in water if I did graphic design. And I taught myself a little bit. So it's still something that I feel I want to do.
Yes.
Because that's how I self-express. The color.
Yes.
I'll think outside the box. I'll take photos. I'll mix up all that and have something. Again, life happens.
Yes.
So again, it doesn't mean that even out here when we do whatever we do, we do not self-express, because even in the classroom we can.
Absolutely.
So long as we embrace that those qualities.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that aspect of just getting to know ourselves and to accept that this is what makes me kick, and then I look for ways to kind of make it actual.
Yeah.
But as it were, yes, I also see you're talking about you being a Pisces
Rising.
rising.
Yes.
So
Like you.
like myself. Yes, and I've seen the steps you've taken, like even going to the same high school that I went to.
Yes.
You know, experiencing very, very similar
Similar,
experiences.
yeah.
Which is
Bizarre.
yeah.
Yes.
It's
Like down to our health problems.
yes,
It's
issues.
the same.
Yes,
It's the same line. So now what I do is I ask you for advice because you've experienced, you've kind of like just been.
I've lived it.
Yes, you've lived it.
Yes.
So I just ask you and I'm like, Mom, really, what do you think about this? And if it's a no, then I avoid. Like I don't wait for the lesson to come to me.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like that has saved me a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. So yeah, so the next planet is Mercury, the planet of communication and thoughts and, coordination. I feel like that's your favorite planet.
Yes,
but you
yes.
have your Mercury in Aquarius, which is beautiful because, like, Aquarius Mercury is a very good placement because there's triplicity, which is a good thing astrologically in this placement. And so when you look at Mercury in Pisces, on the other hand, Mercury rules over Gemini and Virgo. Those are the two signs it rules. So it's comfortable there. And this is because Mercury is about facts. It's fast moving. It's about wits. Mercury used to be the god that is kind of like, what can I say? Like a courier of the gods. Delivering messages.
Logistics.
Yes, exactly.
I'm good at
Logistics.
that.
Hell, heaven, here. Like he's everywhere,
yes,
right? And so this is why Gemini and Virgo do really well, because Virgo is about being anal with the details, being very, this is what we need to do, and that's what you need in logistics. And then Gemini is very much about learning and curiosity and intellect, And so the opposite sign of Virgo is Pisces. So this means that Mercury does not do that well in Pisces, right? And that is just like Mercury being in fall in Pisces. And I feel like this is because Pisces is about very deep feeling and understanding. There's a depth to understanding that Mercury will not have time for, because Mercury wants to be here and there and do something
Everywhere.
else. Yes. It just wants to like accumulate information, I feel, while Pisces wants to assimilate it, because Pisces is ruled by Jupiter traditionally, and Jupiter is a planet of understanding. So it's staying with information, understanding emotion, understanding all these themes, right? And so that's why Mercury is just very, it doesn't do that well in, it's wobbling in Pisces. But then then our next planet, which is Venus, is exalted in Pisces. So now this is where Pisces gets to play and fall in love and create stories and feel beautiful, because Venus is a planet of beauty and aesthetics and value relationships, you see. And these are themes that don't require a coldness or callousness per se. These are things that require a calmness, tact, diplomacy, an understanding of the other person, empathy, And so Pisces is just very happy. Venus is very happy here in Pisces. Yeah, because that exaltation, to explain in simple terms, is like when a beloved guest comes to your house. Okamwamukira.
You receive them.
Exactly, you receive them very well. And so that's what an exaltation means in astrology. And that's how Venus is treated in the sign of Pisces. So, like, these are people who are like amazing curators of beauty and aesthetics and art and music, and like they just go where the wind takes them, and they're artistic. The thing is though,
yes.
the Pisces Venus people I've met, very problematic people. Like,
Why now?
I don't know why a lot of people, when I meet them and they have exalted planets,
Yes.
it's like there's always just something that's not clicking. I don't know if it's the thing where like a lack of something teaches you, or like an abundance of something can make you
Yes.
complacent.
Yes.
I think about it like that because Jupiter is like excess, and benefics can tend to give you excess of
Yes,
things.
yes.
So you can tend to just be comfortable in
Yes,
whatever
and
it is you're doing.
That's true. That happens.
Right?
Yes.
And so I feel like a lot of times these people, especially people with Pisces Venus that I've met, tend to take things very for granted. They tend to not wanna get outside their bubble.
Yeah. Comfort zone.
Yes, comfort zone,
Yes.
exactly.
That's us. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yes, that has happened. Even for me, at some point in life, like, you just appear to be there.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
what sometimes is underestimated is that quietness. When you appear to be like in that comfort zone, you strictly are not there. In your mind, you are still working around issues, but quietly, subtly, still looking for knowledge, but you don't let it out there.
Yeah.
Because remember, you don't want to really, yap about it.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't want fights. You don't want controversy. You don't want differences. So you kind of protect your energy.
Yeah.
So to people, you may look like you're just there.
Yeah.
But eventually, when you spring, my friend.
Yes.
So yeah, depending, of course, on one's self-awareness and perspective.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know who you have met.
Yes, I've met, and it's not just one person. Like a lot of times when I say I've met, like I study people astrologically.
Yes.
I look at people's behavior and I like collect charts, and I feel like the bunch of Pisces. Okay, there are Pisces Venus people that I've met that are stunning, right? But there are also the ones that I've met that are very. You will not expect someone who has an exalted planet. Because I guess it's maybe because I know there's a potential in that particular planet.
Yes.
So maybe your experiences have shown you another thing, right? But I don't know, it just catches me off guard when I'm like, you're supposed to be the kings and queens of love and adoration and amazingness. Yes, and you're just being like the nastiest person in the room. So it just kind of doesn't make sense to me. But the way you said, like people have their journeys and their time to learn. So moving on to Mars, which is the planet of aggression and conflict and how you assert yourself physically in the world.
Yes.
And so Mars in Pisces. I have Mars in Cancer. So I can kind of maybe relate having a Mars in a water sign. But in Cancer, it's like astrologically it's detrimentally worse.
Yes.
Like it's the worst.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's not good. But Mars in Pisces just gives me I know someone with this placement. I know of someone. Andrew Tate has a Pisces Mars, I think. Andrew Tate is I think one of the, I don't know, just most controversial people in our time.
Yes.
And like he had allegedly been in jail for trafficking women. Yeah, for sex trafficking. And there's just always these bursts of opinions that he has. And sometimes this placement, what it gives me is it can come off as insecure, especially if you're not emotionally intelligent.
Okay.
If you don't know that, if you're those people that are like very macho and like emotions are not it, which is what a lot of male socialization looks like, you can really struggle with having water placements. And especially just knowing, just like kind of always fighting from an emotionally unintelligent place. Yes, not nice.
Not nice.
Not nice.
No.
On the other hand, this can look like asserting yourself physically in creative ways, right? In softer ways, whether it's poetry, whether it's artistry, whether it's beauty, whether it's music, this can look like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what Mars in Pisces gives me. And I don't know if Rihanna is a Pisces Mars. I'm not sure. But we can fact check that.
Yes.
The next planet is Jupiter in Pisces.
Yes.
Which this one is just stars.
Oh, that's
amazing.
quite a bit.
Amazing. Because Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces. So, for example, us, me and you, we're ruled by Jupiter.
Yes.
So I think you're ruled by Jupiter in Virgo because in your chart it was in Virgo. And I'm ruled by Jupiter in Capricorn. So, and I feel like that's why we always have like routines and plans because our Jupiter is in earth signs. So that's where we thrive. Right? And Jupiter being the sign of expansion. Jupiter expands. Jupiter blesses. But Jupiter expands what is already there. That's what people don't understand. Because it just doesn't bring you luck.
No.
You'll be the worst person in the world and then it's like, oh, you're lucky. No, it expands what's already there.
So I have to have taken initiative.
Exactly.
For blessing
exactly.
to
come.
Yes.
And it's kind of like where you have to be prepared for your blessings. And because Jupiter is about an assimilation of experiences and understanding, it's like you have to do more to get more. Abundance begets abundance.
Yes.
Scarcity begets scarcity.
That's true.
Those are the themes of Jupiter.
Both ways.
Exactly. But now here in Pisces, it's great because this is like, it's domicile. So it's happy and it has all the tools it needs to be at its best.
Oh, I get that.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes. So, yeah, basically that's Jupiter in Pisces. So, next we have Saturn.
Yes.
Which is what I always keep telling you, Saturnian things.
Yes.
And Saturn is a planet of limitations. Where Jupiter expands, Saturn limits. So, maisha lazima ikuwe na balance. Yes. And that's why I love astrology so much because it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it. There'll always be something.
Which is so true.
Yes, that has to be worked on, that you have to do. Yeah. And of course, Saturn also brings rewards, but after hard work and with time. So Saturn is about delayed gratification, which we're always talking about.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So me and you both have our Saturn in the first house. Meaning for us, it's very prominent. It's an energy we're used to.
Yes.
Discipline and hard work and those themes of delayed gratification.
Can wait.
Exactly. And not having your cake and eating it.
Yes.
Those are themes we've kind of known because natally that's in our chart.
Indeed.
It's what we resonate with.
It's not like, so what happens, we have a generation I'm looking at that can't wait to get rich, They're there, they can do quite a lot of stuff just to, get money now. Get that big car. So how do you advise, if you're dealing with such a person?
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, it's about knowing you really can't have your cake and eat it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just the constraint of the world that we live in. And, like, I feel like Saturn is the most Newtonian. Newton is like Isaac Newton, physics.
Yes.
And if you know, like, the laws of motion, and the third law is action begets reaction. And so that's basically Saturn.
Yes.
And Saturn energy is you reap what you sow.
Wow.
Right.
So this sounds a little physics.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Yes. Because I remember your physics. All this stemmed actually from your love for physics.
For physics. Oh my God, I loved physics.
All those laws that you kept on talking about.
Yeah.
So essentially, then it looks like everything is all tied together.
Absolutely.
So that's awareness of yourself and the environment and nature. It's things that we should be looking for.
Yes.
nice.
Yes,
Oh,
like go back to the basics.
yes.
Yeah, like let the most basic laws of nature guide you, because at the end of the day, that's what has proven to be helpful. Like, that's what animals depend on. That's what the entire cycle of life and nature is about. And so, even the way you were saying, what advice can you give? It's not even, I don't even think it's more what advice I can give, because people will do what they want to do. But at the end of the day, just have the knowledge that every action has a reaction. And even if you are not doing the work to be conscious about where your reactions are stemming from, or where your actions are stemming from, the universe is always going to hold a mirror to your face. It's not about other people seeing. The universe is always going to hold a mirror to your face and ask you, you did that by yourself?
Yes.
And this is the reaction. It's just that simple.
So it eventually puts you in check.
Yeah.
Asiyesikia la mamake kind of thing.
Funza na ulimwengu.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Literally, the universe will teach you. Yes. And what happens?
Saturn,
Yes, Saturn.
Yes.
And Saturn is harsh. Saturn is a harsh teacher. So your ulimwengu that's teaching you, that's Saturn that's teaching you,
That's
because
planets.
exactly, it's working you into place and telling you this is what you did. And so it's very like karmic. And there are people who absolutely don't believe in karma, because they feel like karma is, for example, you do something to me and then something happens to you. But the thing is, karma doesn't happen on our time. We see time very linearly. Like, okay, it's August, nimefanyiwa kitu August. Kama by December hata kuwa amefanyikiwa kitu, then karma doesn't exist. But it's not like that, because my friend once told me that karma exists, and the way God sees karma is he'll punish someone for you, but for that someone, it's the first point of change and forgiveness in their journey. So you have to see things in perspective. It's like this person also has a story that's unfolding for them. And so the only thing that will be centered in their life is not karma. It's also their change. So their point of punishment is also their point of forgiveness. Right?
Yes.
So you have to see those things in duality and know that everyone is on their own special path.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we stop wishing like that other people would suffer for
Exactly.
making you suffer.
Exactly.
Actually, so it's a way of like looking at healing. Because I look at it or the way you put it sounds very Piscean. I would like to hear about it that way.
Yeah.
That yes, something went wrong, but it really, I shouldn't hold it over somebody.
Absolutely.
Because there is a higher power that will deal with that person.
Exactly.
At their time.
Exactly.
And hopefully, or more so, for them to change and, essentially in quotes, change.
Exactly.
Or take their lessons with them into their journeys. That sounds nice.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. And when you start looking at things like that and not from a narcissistic point of view, then you see that all these things are just unfolding to help who you are meant to be.
Yes.
And if you're lucky enough to step into your power like that, then things become unaanza kuachilia vitu. You don't let things rattle you like that, because you understand that somewhere there's something else unfolding and unfolding and unfolding.
And so you don't act like the big man,
Exactly.
the creator.
Exactly.
They do their bit.
Yeah.
You do your bit.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes, and I usually say that it's just you're to let the universe do the work for you. Let the universe do the work for you. Don't interfere with your own karma to make a point. Just seeing the bigger picture, right? So so Saturn in Pisces. Actually, right now Saturn is in Pisces, and Saturn usually lasts about maybe like 2 years in a sign-ish. And so the people who are born with Saturn in Pisces are going through their Saturn returns, which I've told you about again a lot.
Yes.
And Saturn in Pisces is going to bring themes about like lessons, very hard lessons to do with spirituality. Like, for example, the Shakahola mess. And I feel like those are very Saturn in Pisces themes because Saturn brings the lessons or the rewards depending on what you've been doing, I guess. So, but mostly it's about what do you need to restructure?
Yes.
What foundations are working and what foundations are shaky? It's that simple.
Yeah, and that resonates because this is a time that, if you remember last year, I took a time off for my meditation just to go and reset my foundation. And really, it's because for me, without foundation in anything, even when I teach or whatever structures, I cannot sustain that. But when I understand the background of something, and even you've seen maybe when we have a conversation, I'll ask you, give me the basics.
Yes.
Because that foundation then gives you a very strong basis for either making decisions or doing or saying whatever you want to do, having a relationship and stuff like that. So it's an interesting time now, if that's what is happening. Because then there's that, is it a coincidence?
Yes. I feel like it's, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I just feel like it's how, it's like the movements of things.
So you just feel
cyclical.
Yeah, because yes, it's really, it's over systems. Even now, as we speak, I'm able to see a lot of things in perspective. And even maybe my prayer centers and all that. I feel more grounded. And so I would agree.
Yes.
That we are resetting the stuff.
Absolutely. And I was also thinking about the themes about the ocean that people keep speaking about. And a lot of the ocean is undiscovered. And there's been, musings about Saturn in Pisces also being around lessons to do with oceanic life. And I don't know if the last time, like when the Titanic sank, there was this transit. I'm not sure, but apparently there's supposed to be a new, bigger ocean liner in the ocean soon, and people are really like there's a bit of fear mongering around it because it's like what happened last time, and just humans going and encroaching and doing things in the sea. Yes. And things like that. And also I saw that they found a new snake species or something
in the ocean,
in the water somewhere.
Wow.
So themes to do with like large bodies of water are also very Piscean.
Wow. Interesting.
Yes.
Some research we should
undertake.
Carry out.
Yeah. And so the next planet is Neptune in Pisces, which in modern astrology, that is the ruler of Pisces. Because what happened is traditional astrologers used to use the seven, the two luminaries, that's the sun and moon, and then the 5 planets, which is Mercury, Mars, Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter, right? But then when the not trans-Neptunian, are they called trans-Neptunian? Or let me say outer planets were discovered. So they assigned the other signs a ruler. So Neptune became the modern ruler of Pisces. And Neptune is to do with imagination, romanticism, delusion. That's where the delusional thing around Piscean energy comes from. It's to do with deception as well, right? So to wongo, not seeing things for what they really That's a Piscean thing. And so with Neptune in Pisces here, you get that even if it's at home and it can exude all this imaginative energies and creative energies and romantic energies, it can also exude deceptive energies, illusion-like. And yes, I've met a lot of Pisces people who are just not grounded in reality. Hawapendi.
No.
They are just up in the clouds.
In utopia.
In utopia, they don't. They're just not here.
Maybe because we read a lot and we just stay in those stories, in those lands, far distance, places.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I can resonate with that sometimes when I think, like I used to tell you, when you're grown up, I want to travel the world.
Yeah.
And just go to places and do missionary work.
Yes.
Come back
the missionary work is so you. It's so Pisces.
Come back after 10 years.
Not 10 years.
But I'm still here.
Why are you leaving us for 10 years?
Yeah.
But the missionary work is so Piscean. Like those callings, those higher callings.
Yes.
Especially when I think of Pisces life, like those people who've achieved like a high level of spirituality, like the monks, and they're just out of it. They're in a cave somewhere. They don't even know where the next meal will be. Like that's what I mean when I say removed from reality. And Pisces energy can be very like, as long as we have what we have today, kesho itajipanga.
That is true.
But I detest that as a Virgo because I'm like, we have to have the things. Let's have the things.
But we have the faith. We have the faith.
You have the faith, but I have to have the resources.
Yes.
And that's where I feel like our opinions just are always...
They clash.
Yeah, I'm
They
like,
clash.
even if I have a Pisces rising, I still understand the need to be secure materially. And that is just usually a pet peeve for me because I'm like, because kama we hutafikiria, meaning someone else will have to think about it.
Maybe you talked about planning. We do plan. And so even if we don't have now, normally I think with our dreams and everything, we see into the future. And so we'll do a 10-year plan, 30-year plan.
In your dream?
We will have planned somehow. Like you said, we do that.
Yeah.
It's true, we do that.
Yes.
However, when we don't have the resources now, what we need right now, if we can eat today and sleep, then somehow, because of that faith, faith moves mountains. The following day, you find us feeding you.
Faith without action is also dead.
Yes. But we act we plan around our resources. I think we have this thing of, maybe on a more serious note, we love to share whatever we have. We empathize. And so that kind of gets back to us. Yes, it's given back to us somehow by the same universe. Yeah. So we never really lack per se.
That's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, even if it's for a day, we may not have that large. We also we have this finesse.
That's
something
true.
About satisfaction. We don't compare ourselves so much.
That's
as long
true.
as I've given, I'm gratified. But even when I give, remember, I'm giving humans. And so it
will be paid forward.
It's normally paid forward.
I love that.
I think that's maybe...
No, and I know, like, trust me, I feel like even this, having Pisces energy in my chart, deeply, I know that. Like, I feel like just for me, there's a balance. Yes. Because even for you, and I don't know if it's like the socialization of being a firstborn, where you're also taught the very practical realities of, doing the work, and which you have because you were like put on the work very early at an early age. So unajua. But mom, you have not met the Pisces people who are Delulu. Delulu is the Solulu. That's what they say.
Yes.
Because they will just expect things to happen out of nowhere.
Don't just happen.
Or just be very disillusioned. And sometimes that can appear as very harsh consequences realistically. Unaona mtu anafanya the same thing over and over again na halan.
Now we are discouraged from whipping the horse, whipping the dead horse, expecting different results.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of dangerous delusion I'm talking about. There's even a mental illness actually around delusion, being disillusioned.
Yes.
So so you have to be very just careful. Even if delulu is the solulu sometimes, there needs to be a balance in everything.
And that's where you come in.
Yeah.
Because now when you shine light on all these perspectives, then we are able to place ourselves at some place and critique where we are at in terms of if it's work-life balance, if it's parenting, stroke, letting go, balance, everything around whatever we do with knowledge becomes easier. Because I know I'm a Pisces. These are the risks that I'm likely to face if I stick at one place. So I'll definitely work around it.
Beautiful.
And that's why I was telling you at the beginning that having this knowledge that you have sought and shared with us helps a lot. Because now, for example, communication becomes so easy and seamless if we know how to communicate to whom and, for what reason.
Exactly.
So I will pull from my psychology and then a bit of astrology and a bit of that, and you become a more beautiful person.
Absolutely.
More wholesome.
Yes.
Yes.
So Uranus in Pisces. So Uranus is the planet of innovation, revolution, anxiety, shock, nerves, things like that. Things like jolt you and like cause shock, right? And so in Pisces here, it could give someone who's very artistically innovative, right? Maybe like those people who have a very distinct artistic style or flair or a tone of singing or just something to do with Piscean themes, right? And it's just giving like, I don't know, creative innovation in a sense. What else is Uranus? Uranus in Pisces is also looking like emotional shock. Going through themes that or transits that bring you like very deep emotional shock or nerves or like anxiety, like very just, nerve-wracking things. Yeah, that's what that is giving me. And what do you think about that?
I have a question. Are these experiences like those, do they take time? Because personally, what has brought me anxiety, I've for some time been on the anxiety spectrum and have had to seek, well, not really medical intervention, but I was lucky to kind of identify it and have to deal with it by maybe slowing down and addressing the triggers. But I realized as I interrogated it, it has taken me over time to develop that, to get to that level. So, and it really shakes us because I think we are used to a softer kind of landing, closing our emotions, just being nice and all that. And then you realize, hey, this thing is here and I'm going through it. And occasionally you will kind of want it to just go away. The way you said it, just go away, fly away. It's not going away. And then, so taking about, does it take that planet? Does it command time? What?
The planet that commands time, that's a really good question, is Saturn. And that's why it's like, it brings you harsh lessons around your foundations. The thing with these outer planets is a lot of times, the way I look at them is as transits. So for example, right now, Saturn is in Pisces. maybe beginning of 2025, it's going to move to Aries, where we'll both be having a Saturn return. So like that's what a transit is. It literally means a planet moving from one sign to another.
Yes.
And then it comes, it like conjoins a planet natally in your chart. And then that can signify something happening in your life.
Yes.
That's how you look at transits. So for example, the way you're asking if it can take time, it can, because also those outer planets take longer to transit.
Oh, yes.
So for example, a planet like Pluto will take 14 years to move from sign to sign. So it just moved into Aquarius, meaning we'll be going through a series of change. Slow change.
Yes.
Exactly, gradual change. So it will be like the lessons will keep coming up. Coming up.
Yes.
So how you dealing with them is the thing.
Yes.
That's what changes. And speaking even of that change, we can look at Pluto in Pisces, because what I want to talk about, especially with Pisces, is fear
Yes.
and escapism.
Yes.
Those two things. Am I dragging you yet?
Those are good themes to discuss. The good, the bad.
Yes.
Yes.
Because as much as we have the dreamers and the creatives, and that's amazing. Like, I love Pisces energy. I love having Pisces energy because it makes me know that there's something bigger. There's something outside of me. And it makes me feel like I'm just participating in something bigger. And that makes me feel humbled. But at the same time, it removes a sort of anxiety. You know, feeling like you have to do everything and be everything. You just have to play your part.
Yes.
And so there's always that optimism wherever Jupiter is, right? Because Jupiter is the greatest benefic. It brings us it's like, it brings us a lot of blessings. Yeah. But at the same time, looking at Pluto in Pisces, Pluto signifies gradual change, transformation. And a lot of times it's through painful lessons. So whereas Saturn is very hard lessons, like you lose your job, you get a child and you're not even ready, like those surprises that just shake your foundations and you're like, okay, a death of someone, things like that. And of course, these things are painful. Pluto is where the change will come, whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
And if if you don't conform, it's going to feel so difficult. So difficult.
Yes.
So for me, what Pluto in Pisces gives me is how do you confront your fear? I know a lot of Pisces placements who are very fearful, right? They live with a pit in their stomach. And it's just something that I've come to observe over a period of time. And I'm like, yes, there's sometimes like we all feel like we don't have a control of things. Or, you know, what will happen, and that worry. Worry is the word.
Worry is the word.
Yes. And it's like, I feel like it's just, I don't know, paradoxical. Because on one hand, you guys are ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is here bringing you optimism and all these things. But on the other side of the coin is the worry and the doubt and the fear, which a lot of times leads to escapism. And that's why I find that a lot of Pisces placements struggle with alcohol, the drugs, enter all these things, enter the just avoiding your problems.
Avoidance.
Right.
Then we overanalyze
Exactly.
issues. So before you make the decision, you will have, muddled a lot in a lot of stuff. That fear, actually worry.
Yeah.
Is also something. Like, I remember being in high school, in Form 2, I was a warrior.
Yeah.
I worried about everything and anything. I can't tell you what, because whatever I needed, I had.
Yeah.
But still, it's about self-image.
Yes.
How do people see me?
Yes.
How I'm not maybe performing as parents expect. What will they say? And yet, even when you get to that house, they'll just encourage you to be better.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so with time, like you're saying, as we move in time, this planet, is showing me that, yes, you can have a challenge, but you don't have to dwell. It takes time to sometimes do away with some of these
Beautiful.
habits.
Yes.
So that worry over time
Yes.
is now no longer an issue.
Yes.
But like you're saying, I agree.
Yes.
It takes time.
Yes.
And once I address it, I know the situation is here with me.
Yes.
This is how I'm likely to behave in
Yes.
case, or even another situation I had 2 years ago after COVID, my health, and then I'm worried, analyzing, is it
Yes.
COVID? What is it?
Yes.
Go to hospital, it's not COVID.
Yeah.
Then you just snap back.
Yeah.
And like I said, from a point of knowledge, you're able now to address some of these issues. But again, not immediately.
Absolutely.
Again, with
Gradual.
So yes. I see the truth there.
Yeah. And so the thing with again with all these themes is balance. There always has to be balance, because you will not find your blessings if you really don't know what pain and going through obstacles is. You will not enjoy blessings in that same respect. It's a spectrum. And so I just feel like there should always be that still voice in your head that just reminds you, listen, it is not that serious. And it's so important to literally talk to yourself and say, we're not going to give these doubts, these worries, space. We're just going to do what we can do today.
It's easier said than done for a Piscean, I think.
Yes.
That's what we are called. Easier said than done. For me, when you say, listen to that voice, I will go to my Bible, I'll read, and it tells me that. But without understanding the foundation of who I am and the way I move, the way my biology is, or whatever, chemistry, whatever you like to call it, that innate me, which now, like I told you, through the lens that I've been able to see as we had these discussions, then I would still be listening. I wouldn't know how to listen to that voice. So I'll still pray, but I'll still worry. I'll still talk to a counselor, but I still worry. Then I realize, this is actually who I am. According to Pisces, I'm this way, or I'm likely to be this way. I'm likely to respond this way. So with that background, and I think you talked about it, the foundation. If I get the foundation right, then moving or working around the issues becomes
easier.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
It's almost like, why didn't I know this?
Yes.
Long time ago. Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, the how do I put it? I feel like what I was trying to say was that we're sister signs, right?
Yes.
So I'm a Virgo and you're a Pisces. And what I've found that works is faking it until you make it. It's not knowing and then practicing. It's practicing and then knowing. And that's the opposite sign. That's the opposite. Yes, that's our opposite. No, but I still have Pisces energy.
Yes.
So I understand what you say when you say worry and doubt and fear. But I'm telling you, in the opposite sign, you can seek solution, because that's the way the signs are made. In that there's something about a Pisces that I should be tapping into as a Virgo.
Yes.
But there's something about Virgos that you should be tapping into as a Pisces.
Yes.
And I think what I meant is that when you hear the voice of worry, literally speak to yourself with an opposite voice. Because that most likely in practice will work. The thing is, because Pisces is very much about feeling and being cloudy, then a lot of times you don't get to ground yourself. But as a Virgo, I'm telling you, what to do to ground yourself is to practice these things. So for example, if I feel like like, okay, I'm overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worrying.
Yes.
I'm worrying about what I'm gonna eat tomorrow, where my rent will come from, whatever. It's like I literally talk to myself and I'm like, Wandia, we're not doing this. Do we have all we need for today? Yes. Then why are we worrying? Does it make sense realistically to be worrying right now? If the answer is no, then that helps me calm my nervous system, because I know, because I've brought in the realistic side of it.
Yes.
Right? The thing is, sometimes Virgos can be too realistic now.
Yes.
We're like always just living here and planning and doing the things. So we need that Piscean flow. We need to be imaginative and creative, so that we're just not always trapped in anxiety now.
Yes.
You see? And in those ways, we can learn from each other. And honestly, that's what I've been trying to do with astrology. Is like, if I'm an Aries moon and I know I'm reacting in an aggressive manner, then I will try and do what a Libra will do. I'll just do it, even because I know instinctively or astrologically it's bound to work, because the energy tames this other energy.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah. So yes, so Pluto in Pisces is about confronting yourself and your fears and gradual change. So it's about, I think, knowing that your emotions are your strength, tapping into them. And because Piscean themes are very spiritual, and Pluto is about like deep understanding and passion and research, and even sometimes things to do with the occult. These things can go beautifully in unearthing your spirit. Like, and those very idealistic things, like, who am I? What is my purpose? You know, like, and also helping people with that. So whether it's like helping people psychologically with their psychological problems, empathizing with them, teaching them what you said, for example, like missionary work, those themes, right? That's how you use your emotions and your empathy to make an impact. Yeah. And so, yes, so this is, I think we're done with the planets. Yeah. We could just look at a few celebrities who are Pisceans, like Rihanna. Rihanna is a Pisces. Sun, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Lupita.
Oh, wow.
Lupita is a Pisces. Who else is a Pisces? Trevor Noah.
Oh, I love
Yes,
Trevor
you love
Noah.
Trevor
I
Noah.
love Trevor.
Exactly.
I can't get enough
Yeah,
of it.
you see how they're very...
Yes. I love when Lupita comes and she's just in Kisumu,
Yes,
just doing her thing.
exactly.
And looking like, she's so down to earth.
Exactly. That's Pisces energy. It's a very, very humble. They understand the depth and the meaning of life and giving and things of the sort. Yeah, and they have the ability to create very huge impact in this lifetime. Yeah, and so being the last sign of the zodiac, that has to mean something. It means these are the like, you can think about it like the elders of the zodiac. They know, they're wise, and they're transitioning into enlightenment.
Wow.
Yeah.
We are at the Maslow's right at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've passed through all those stages.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, this is where just everything culminates and we learn all our lessons. So I really trust in a Piscean's advice, especially if the people who live according to their word. Yeah, then you better listen when a Pisces tells you something.
Give it thoughts.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of this episode.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you so much, Mom, not only for gracing my podcast, but for raising me the way you have and just enabling my creativity. And like, no one can tell me anything. Hakuna mtu anaweza niambia anything. My confidence, this is where my confidence stems from. And it's just like an ode to mothering and nurturing the way you're supposed to, because it's every time I think about it, I'm like in awe. I'm like, wow, I get to experience this in this lifetime. Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna do my best. And so I'm deeply, deeply grateful for you, and God bless you. And is there anything you'd like to
yes,
say?
of course. You said we are the sage. So
Yes,
just close it off. Sages. First, thank you too for inviting me to your podcast. Those are it's like the icing on the cake when you have your child and you can share a platform and discuss, philosophically or otherwise, opinions and, just shape who they are as well. Correct if need be. They correct me as well. It's a give and take at this level. So thank you so much. Mine is just to keep praying for you, that God gives you that wisdom, that tenacity to follow through your dreams. That there'll be mistakes to be made along the way, or like the world is not perfect. But as you ascend your calling, I pray and trust that you'll get to that day when you can look back and say, I give it my all. It's my prayer, my wish, my belief that I have been given, I've been a steward of this beautiful soul, Wandia, from God. It's just a work of art that I was given and I've crafted to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Yes, even as we bring you up, or we brought you up to this level, there are those tips. Even, if you can imagine somebody crafting a giraffe from some nice sandalwood or whatever wood, there are those chips that will fall off the block for that giraffe to come out beautiful with all the spots and everything. So those, I would say, are those parts of creative process that have fallen off. Little, the daring you did in business and all these things. Some you succeeded, some you did not, but they are all lessons. So I'm praying and trusting that going forward, God blesses you in your activity, in your astrology.
Thank you.
In your creative juices.
Always flowing.
Yes, tunashukuru sana.
Asante.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Asante. Yes, and so actually I would like to talk about North Node in Pisces for a minute, because I feel like it's important to talk about the nodes. And I actually just got a new perspective about the nodes, which is that the North Node and the South Node are supposed to bring you balance. You're not supposed to overdo one and underdo the other. It's just about finding a point of balance. And it's exactly what we talked about earlier, about having a North Node in Pisces implies that you have a South Node in Virgo. So meaning that you have to look to your sister sign for the things that you are lacking, because they are probably good at those things. So if you have a North Node in Pisces, this means that there are themes to do with spirituality and enlightenment and
Creativity.
yes, artistry and kind of flowing and surrendering that you need to look at, but also balance that with routines and planning, right? Because that's the only way you get results. And so when you plan, for example, a creative endeavor, it's very much likely to be successful than when you just think on the ideas and then you see someone else execute the idea and you're wondering, oh, what happened? But I'm a creative. Don't be a creative in your head. Make sure you follow through. And so that's the importance of balancing your North and South Node, okay? And that brings us to the end of this episode and the end of actually looking at the signs. Of course, we have Pisces through the houses, but this is the final sign. And I'm so grateful because this will mark the end of a year of the Wandiology podcast. And thank you so much for tuning in. And feel free to comment what more content you'd like to see. What's the next series you'd like to see? Is it aspects? Is it transits? What is it, right? And so you can find me on at Wandiology on all socials. You can find the podcast on at the Wandiology podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode, which is Pisces through the houses. Bye.